Players with the impulse to buy and the flurry of sales continue. Even with the buzz from Lord of the Rings starting to build, players are spending in a whole different way. To put it in simple terms, the sales don't lie. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here, and thanks again for hanging out with me on the channel today. Welcome back to the regular viewers and new viewers alike. And of course, if you are a new viewer, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, support me on my journey to get to 20,000 subscribers. And thanks again, everyone who takes the time to do so. But let's get on to this. This is unusual. We have Lord of the Rings coming up soon, about a month away, followed by Commander Masters, and that means players are expected to open their wallets and spend some serious money. But we also have the micro set Aftermath and some decent sets recently. Let's not forget that March the Machine wasn't too shabby. Phyrexia All Will Be One was awesome. I gotta say, I really did like the Brothers War and Dominaria United. These are all decent sets, and you can't forget things like Kamigawa still sitting in the backdrop. They're all still selling pretty good. But when those cards are still selling well, and they're at a decent price, players see that. And they're spending in a whole different direction than I've seen on a lot of these top 10 videos. When you do them every week, you see certain patterns that kind of form, and the last couple of weeks have really thrown me off. I expected the sales to trend off a bit this week. And you know what? I'm not going to ruin it for you, but it's a little bit different. You'll see when we go through from number 10 to number 1, some cards jostled, some new cards came on. But what's unusual is the volume. The volume is much higher than has been recently. And that tells me no matter how mad some people are at Wizards of the Coast, there are so many other people out there that just want everyone else to shut up and play the game. They just want to have a good time. They're kind of tired of the drama, and they just want to dive in there. And for every person that's just knuckling it, saying they're not going to give in, there's probably 10 players out there just saying, hey man, I just want to try these cards out. Let's buy some and see what happens. It's a very weird dynamic we have facing off out there. Different little cliques of people, all with different opinions on the game. I have my own. I've shared them here on the channel many times. I'm not always happy with Wizards of the Coast. I'm not happy with the moves they make, the prices they set, but I do love the game, and I do want to play, and I can understand different people's perspectives. And these sales, they lend that certain air to, I just want to play. Because you wouldn't be selling thousands of copies of things if you didn't want to play. And we're only talking about the markets I can access and actually physically count, not the stuff that's out there. There's other markets I have no access to or very limited input from people on the channel and a few contacts I've made. So it doesn't always add up to enough to add to these videos, but it's enough to give me a little bit of an inkling saying, yeah, it's headed that way. Now, that also leads us to, of course, the reserve list edition top 10 tomorrow. Some unusual stuff going there. Don't forget to watch that video. You don't want to miss out. 11:15 Eastern Standard Time, guys. These videos go up. Now, let's start at number 10 this week. We're going to go down to number 1. You'll find out the top 10 selling cards in Magic this week. Number 10 this week is Clearwater Pathway Zendikar Rising. Average price $5.49 US. Market price $5.37 US. The foils are $5.73 US. €6.73 to get this card to your house. It's around $8 here in Canada. And if you have the money, go for the full art extended foil ones. They're beautiful, guys. They are. The double foiled siding, I love these cards. And I think a lot of players are starting to realize that it looks like fetch lands aren't coming around anytime soon, and shock lands really aren't going to be a mainstay for a little while. And other mana bases like the Triomes and the Pathways seem to be catching players' attention because I noticed a real uptick in every Pathway sale. Not enough to all make the top 10, but there was tons of them in the 400 and 500 sales in a single week. That's thousands of Pathways in a single week. Somebody's buying them, something's going on, and it's not one person. It's a whole group and a whole menagerie of people all over the place buying them. So it tells me people just want them for decks and are building up small positions so they don't have to hunt them down later, especially if they don't get a reprinting. If they don't come around quick enough, they will drift up in price. Of course, everything will get reprinted, but you have a certain time frame to wait for cards like this. Now, the number 9 card this week is Oceloth, the Shattered Spire, March of the Machine. 938 sales this week from May 20th to the 26th. The average price for this card, $6.99. Market price, $6.98. A foil is $7.39. €5.77 to get that card to your house, around $8 here in Canada. Now, this card is interesting. I do like it. 1 green, 1 generic, legendary artifact. If 1 or more +1/+1 counters will be put on an artifact creature you control, that many +1 +1/+1 counters are put on instead. And of course, you can tap 1 green and 1 other and tap the artifact, put a +1/+1 counter on target artifact or creature you control, activate as a sorcery, and it has cycling. This has a lot going for it. This is a kind of an all-in-one kind of combo package I like to think of. A lot more power in this artifact than people realize. It's something to pay attention to for the future. And if this card really catches on somewhere, it could become a disgustingly powerful card. Somebody's just got to find a way to make it work a little bit quicker. Now, number 8 this week, Niv Mizzet Supreme, March of the Machine, Aftermath. This thing's less than $1. Its market price is 35 cents. But 1,192 sales this week. So what does this card offer people? It is 1 of every color, 5/5 Legendary Dragon Avatar. Whew, there's a lot going there. Of course, for Dragon Tribal decks, sure, why not? But it also has Flying, Hexproof for multicolored. Interesting. Each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard that's exactly 2 colors has Jumpstart. You may cast this card from your graveyard by discarding a card in addition to paying other casting costs. This card has a lot more going for it than people realize, and Wizards has been engineering cards like this for a while. When it says exactly 2 colors, think of all the time-walking spells. Think about Gamut and all these other kind of crazy cards out there that'll fit into these 5-color decks. Cards like this are interesting. Turn-taking can be a big thing, but there's also lots of reasons to duplicate other spells. Pay attention to this card, guys. For less than $1, buying a playset of 4 is a very inexpensive endeavor, and you don't know where cards like this will end up in Commander down the road. Not even in a Dragon Tribal, just as a great versatile card. Let's go ahead and take a look at number 7 this week, and this is Danthia, New Benalia's Light. 1,302 sales, again, less than $1. These cards are not super expensive. What I found interesting is the Animist. Nissa's not even on the list this week, by the way. She's not here. So if you're hoping she'd be high, she's not. She's totally knocked off, by the way. Now, Danthia, New Benalia's Light. We've noticed human knights, human soldiers, knights, all these kinds of cards for Tribal are coming back around. We've seen the last several sets from Dominaria United moving forward all the way through, Brothers War, Phyrexia. They've all been there. They're building up these tribal themes, adding a few cards each set. But all the deck testing I've seen, and I've tried myself, as great as these cards are as individual cards, they're not working. They're not connecting enough to make a decent attempt at a kind of Commander deck you can work with. If you guys know other cards that will connect or work well, let me know. Put it in the comments section, because I'm not having a lot of luck trying to do this stuff, at least in Standard right now, building on Arena. Let's go ahead and take a look at number 6, and that is Training Grounds. All right, guys, 1,596 sales, a reprint that everyone wanted, and the price didn't crash as far as I thought it would go. I've seen lots of this card opened inside of Aftermath, but this one, I'm kind of surprised it's staying as strong as it is. The average price is $6. The market price is $5.11. A foil is $6.57. €7.79 to get this card to your house. $10 here in Canada. Now for the Training Grounds being a single casting cost blue enchantment. Activated abilities of creatures you control cost 2 less to activate. This effect can't reduce the mana in that cost to less than 1 mana. So you can bring them down to 1. It's kind of cool. This doesn't see as much play as it used to, but now people who can afford it and think it's just a cheap little substitute might be throwing this in a lot more than people expect. There's a lot of new Commander players I've seen, and they're trying some crazy stuff just to see if it works. Let's go ahead and take a look at number 5. This is Filter Out. 1,745 sales this week, less than $1, guys. You can see market price 78 cents, average 84 cents. A foil is 99 cents US. It's $1.50 here in Canada. But what I find interesting about Filter Out from Aftermath, It's what it does. 2 blue, 1 generic. Return all non-creature, non-land permanents to their owner's hands. We're talking Planeswalkers. Remember this card, because if you want to save your Planeswalkers at instant speed in a Super Friends deck, this is going in your deck. Non-creature, non-land permanents. Everything that is not a creature, not a land, is going back. You can save enchantments. You can save artifacts. This thing can save your Planeswalkers. It can save battle. This thing has a lot going for it that I don't think people realize, but the sales show me that somebody's taking advantage of it and people are buying it. So in case you weren't thinking that way, you might want to. It's a decent card. For less than $1, it makes perfect sense. I can see this card easily climbing to a couple of bucks if people really can make a good run at it and make it really work for them. It's the fact it's at instant speed. Now, number 4 this week, Sigarda Fanta Blessing. 1,963 sales this week. And an epic card, guys. Now, this one here has average price $2.54, but a market price of $4.23. That's a big discrepancy. A foil is $2.45, €2.98 to get this card in your house. It's around $4 here in Canada. Now, Sigarda the Fanta Blessing, I love this card. Other permanents you control have hexproof. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast angel spells and human spells from the top of your library, and it's a 4/4. Say what? I know, guys. When you break this down, you're an old school player, like an old fogey like me, looking at these cards, you're like, this card does what? This thing does everything, and a bag of chips. Oh, what a great card, guys. I love it, okay? If my angel deck wasn't pure white, this thing would totally be there. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the number 3 card this week, and that's Invasion of Gobokon. It sounds like Globotron from, like, remember Globotron, by the way, in case you guys didn't know? That's like a really old one from GoBots. That's where the GoBots are from. It's in the same universe as Cybertron for Transformers. Very interesting stuff. And Battle Beasts. In case you guys didn't know that old toy. Battle Beasts, same universe as all of them. They're all kind of like cousins and stuff. If you just look back in the lore. 2,136 sales. Okay. The average price, $14.99. The market price, $12.66. A foil is $17.97. €2.69 to get this card to your house. And honestly, I forgot to look this up locally for Canada. I apologize, guys. But let's take a look at what this card does. Now, on the bright side here, the battle card's cheap to cast. Okay, it's a rare, it's 1 white, 1 other. Battle Siege. Alright, when Invasion of Gobokon enters the battlefield, look at target opponent's hand. You may exile a non-land card from it. For as long as that card remains exiled, its owner may play it. A spell cast this way costs 2 more though, so it costs a little bit more. It's like that guy, the magistrate guy, who made things cost more. But look at the enchantment if you do the damage and kill this thing. At the beginning of your end step, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature that attacked this turn. Sacrifice Light Shield Array. Creatures you control have hexproof and indestructible. This is a very versatile card. It reminds me of that, is it Bassi? The guy from Amonkhet or one of those places where he could put the counters on at the end of turn and stuff. This is a decent card. Okay, I haven't really seen it played a lot effectively, but this is a decent card. If you get 4 of these in a deck, and you can find a way to keep your little guys alive with like King Darius and stuff, you could have some fun with this card, I'm telling you. Great card. But the value's there, like people are seeing the money on that one. Now, number 2 this week, Coppercoat Vanguard, still hanging in there, 2,263 sales. Market price, you guys can see it there, it's 34 cents, no big thing, 20-cent euro. But the card is a good card again. 1 white, 1 generic, human soldier. Each other human soldier you control, human. See, I jumped on soldier because I looked above me. Each other human you control gets +1/+0 and has ward 1. This is a good card for casting Causa 2. Yeah, it seems to have a minor ability of the +1, but the ward is kind of nice for people trying to target your stuff. I like this card. Decent card. But now, you've waited long enough. We've gone down the yellow brick road. We've taken the journey together, and we're now at the number 1 card this week. Out of nowhere, March the Machine, Knight Errant of Eos. 2,495 sales, and this isn't the cheapest card. But man, the amount of sales blew my mind. I had to like put out extra calls just to make sure my numbers added up. The average price, $7.99. The market price, $6.73 US. $11.25 for the foil, €1.27 to get this card in your house. Unusual, right? You see where I'm going with this? And of course, here in Canada, it's around $10. Now let's take a look at this card. 1 white, 4 generic for a human knight with Convoke. When the Knight Errant of Eos enters the battlefield, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal up to 2 creature cards with value X or less from among them, where X is the number of creatures that convoked. Knight Errant of Eos, put the revealed cards into your hand, then shuffle. So this thing's going to give you drawing power, deck thinning power. It has a decent ability to it. I don't know how well it'll play off unless you build around it really well, but I can see people using it. Like, it makes sense, although I've never played against it yet. So I wonder if something's just happened. If you guys know of a combo or something for that, let me know, because I'm kind of curious, because it came out of the blue, but it caught my eye when I actually started adding up the sales. So when you look at these new sets coming up, we got Lord of the Rings, we got Commander Masters, the big hitters, but these sales are way higher than normal. This is not the normal kind of phase we're seeing these last couple of weeks, and it makes me wonder if the single sales are being strong enough and cheap enough. The players really don't mind this micro set as much as people say they do. Because these sales tell me people are buying the cards, things are finding interest, and players just want to have fun and play the game. Thanks a lot for hanging out today. Can't wait to read your comments in the comments section about this. Kind of good times. I like to see everyone having a good time and deck building, constructing, and brewing crazy stuff. And I'm sure soon enough we'll get Lord of the Rings spoilers out there, and we'll be talking about that big time. Thanks a lot for hanging out with me today. Thank you for allowing me to entertain you with another video each and every day. And of course, I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow when we do our top 10 reserve list edition. Don't miss it, guys. We'll see you then. We're here. We're at that moment. You see the names going by? These are the patrons of the channel. The supporters, they're here. This is it, man. These are the people who make it happen each and every day. Thanks again to you wonderful patrons. You guys rock. Micro sets, micro machines, G.I. Joe Transformers. Who knows what IPs we'll go for. Anyway, beside the point, ramble jamble here at the end. Taco Tuesday is over. Actually, it happens tomorrow. Even though it's a Sunday, it's going to happen. You'll see what I mean. And as you get to the end of the video, these micro set like this, the amount of sales totally throwing me off. I looked at the last year and a half of sales stuff, the spreadsheet, and look at the overalls and stuff, the numbers I add up, like it just kind of auto adds and tallies month over month. And you're just like, these are way off. They really are. Like, it doesn't make sense at all. And it's because of this micro set. And as much as people say they hate it, the cards are selling and they're cheap, right? Like, these cards are not expensive other than the Nissa. And actually, that Invasion of the Gobokon thing is kind of higher than I thought too. But when you look at the overall cards that are 50 cents, 60 cents, enough is selling. Just the volumes of sales is massive. I want to see what happens in the next few weeks when Lord of the Rings really hits. If people start seeing some cool cards, possibly, that'll really suck up the money. It'll dry everything out. It should, because then people are saving up for the new set because they want to buy it now. Although the pre-sales are higher than normal too. We'll be talking about that this week. Anyway, thanks a lot for hanging out, guys. Lots of thoughts on the Mox Man's minds. I hope you guys are having a great day today. Don't forget to bring a friend to Magic and have a good time. And remember, always, always remember this. Shop smart, shop smart.